good programmer is a lazy programmer. I don't remember who told me these words the first time, but I lived by them for the last 10 years. Some context. I've been gathering 3D assets from the Unity Asset Store and from any of my previous projects to kickstart the level of Cyberdam. When doing something like this, you come across a multitude of organizational issues like assets not being made in the correct render pipeline, broken materials, pivot points not being aligned, folder structures being a mess, you name it. And when you total the amount of extremely tedious work and manual labor you need to do to fix all this, there's basically two things to do. One, cry, man up and do the insurmountable amount of manual labor while crying the whole time. Or two, decide you are way too lazy to do this manual labor and create editor tools that do the work for you. I also had my fair share of crying in the past, during the first few years of learning how to develop in Unity, until I realized the power of Unity editor tools. A thing that often happens in Unity is the infamous missing script error. Now this happens when you delete the file of a script, but you forgot that you had an object with that script on it. So now the object with the script on it will give you the missing script error because Unity remembers there was a script on it, but it can't find it anymore. This is not a real big issue per se, but the thing is, while an object has this error, you cannot modify it and then save the modifications you did. So when you have a lot of objects that have these issues, it's basically halting your further development of your project, which is a big thing. And then when you want to find the object in question, it's often hidden away deep in the hierarchy of other objects, or there are many of them, or it's very difficult to find, and you just get the generic error of Unity, I can't save, because there are missing scripts, but you don't know how many or where they are. It's quite difficult to fix this. In my case, I wanted to transfer assets from City of Springs to my Cyberdam project, and I just wanted the 3D models and the prefabs, but I forgot that there were a lot of scripts actually on the prefabs already, but I didn't transfer those because I didn't need them. So I had a lot of objects, like 90%, that were giving the missing script error. It would have been a lot of work to manually remove all the missing script errors. Editor script to the rescue. Right, for example, there's a script and it's missing its reference. Now this is just one missing script, but you can imagine that it could also be here, and here, and here, and here, and well, you get the point. So now I have the script. And fix missing scripts. It opens up a window with a button, and if I click it, tada! It doesn't have a missing script anymore because it removed it. And it removed it recursively, so if there were multiple missing scripts in this object, it would have removed them all. Let me show you how I made this. First, we'll make this an editor window type of script, and we'll remove the start and update functions. Then we create the function that Unity will interpret as a menu item, so we can open up a menu window. The editor window will display all user interface that we write into the onGUI function. We add a button in this window like this. If the button is pressed, it'll call the function fixMissingScripts. The first thing we want this function to do is collect all asset paths of game objects that end with .prefab in their name, getting all the prefab files. Then we iterate through each of these paths and load their actual game objects. Afterwards we'll call a new function called clean, and we pass this loaded game object into it. In this clean function we call the Unity function remove mono behavior with missing scripts, with a reference to the game object. This will clean it of all missing scripts, if any. Then lastly, we iterate through all the optional children in this game object and call the clean function again, passing along the children. This will recursively clean all the game objects with missing scripts inside the main game object. Another issue that I came across when transferring assets from City of Springs to Cyberdam is that for City of Springs we created a custom shader which we used for almost any material, but it was only working for the built-in render pipeline. So when importing all the assets in the universal render pipeline, all the materials were broken. And so I needed to create a little script that would find all the materials in the project that were broken and then fix them to the standard universal render pipeline shaders. Now I won't bore you with the details about how the script works, but I've added a link to the description to my GitHub so you can download it and use it yourself. The trick is to understand that Unity is actually a very versatile game engine. Every manual action you do with a mouse button or a button press on your keyboard, you can also actually do by code. Do you, for example, have many game objects that you want to convert to prefabs? Need to split up your massive scene into multiple smaller scenes? Want to compress all the textures in your project a certain way? Just create an editor script. Now back to Cyberdam. As I said earlier in the video, this week I've been hard at work on finding and collecting and organizing 3D assets from the Unity Asset Store and from my previous projects. Any that I could use for Cyberdam. The good news is that I found quite a few. The bad news is that most of them were very messy, badly organized, just not structured for my work pipeline, or broken shaders. A lot of work. My current thought on Cyberdam is that I want to create a few themed areas in the city. So the heart of the city will be skyscraper galore, high walkways and poverty below it in the dam streets, no sunlight. Near the dam itself I want some kind of swamp territory, because there once was a hole in the dam which was fixed, but not until there was a lot of water inside Cyberdam. So wooden docks, houses rotting, fish, people walking on high stalks over the water. And then the third theme I am currently thinking about is some sort of Victorian rich styled neighborhoods for people who didn't really go along with their time. Just like some really conservative people in Zeist. And so I've been working on organizing all the assets into categories, folders, subfolders, fun structures like that. It's been work. Now it doesn't help that my PC decided it can't hold its turbo boost anymore and, well, like blue screens 5 times a day. Thanks, PC! Unfortunately, I don't really know a way to automate this kind of process. So I just have to cry and do the work, I guess. But if any one of you know a way to do this faster or automate a part of it, please let me know. Luckily I have the creation of these YouTube videos to alternate the work with, which I find really awesome, and it's very rewarding to do. Like my previous video got over 2,500 views. I'm told this is quite a big thing for a starting channel like this one, so I just wanted to give out a massive thanks for anyone out there who's watching these videos. Thank you so much. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss my next video. And it's going to be a big one, because next week is going to be my 10th year anniversary of being a game developer. Yay! See you next week.